What's up? Y'all know it's about the moms today, right? All the beautiful ladies out there holding it down. Mom, aunt, cousins, godmothers, friends, and friends. Clap your hands like this, ladies. We're going to start up in Ohio with my favorite girl. What up, Brenda? What's up, Boosie and Patty? Funk, not fight. Put your guns down. Unite. Yeah, we did that last night. That was cool. What's up, baby boo? Love you, CB. Thank you for your support. Kim Calhoun, Pod TV is with us, yo. You know how we roll. Come from the front seat. Talk about mama. New York, where you at? Strong Island, Bay Shore, my hometown. Staten Island. And Virginia, Delaware, Detroit. Say ho. Jersey, DC, what up? Georgia. North, South, Sakalaka. Always love my mama. Yes, you did. Kim Calhoun, Pod TV. Enough said, yo. I love this woman. Nothing but love for you. Florida, New Orleans. We got you. Oklahoma, Utah, North and South Dakota, Dubai, Minneapolis. We talk about mama. One of a kind. Hey, mama, I love you. Nevada, what up, Joanne? I love you. California, Washington State, I love you. Hawaii, New Orleans, doing the Humpty Hump. Tokyo, Yo, Japan, Germany, DJ, Cocolino, and Italy, thank you. Elizabeth and Ireland, I love you, sweetie. Patty Soul, DJ Monica, in Switzerland, I love you. Thank you for playing my shit. Kim Calhoun, Pod TV is with us, yo. Folks from the front seat. Live on the Grind TV. My producer today, Mr. Mark Lee. Egypt, Iraq, Iran, Ukraine, where you at? Russia, where you at? Dubai, I already got you one. Africa, where you at? Colombia, Puerto Rico, where you at? Como está? Pumapumco, Peru, I got you. Way down in the Congo, I got you. All around the world for the funk, we got you. Remember, funk, not fight. Put your guns down. Unite. Alright? National hashtag. Boosie and Patty, you know I love you. Everybody out there, clap your hands. David Brooks from Funky Philadelphia. I know you love this shit. I saw your post, brother. I got you. Everybody say, ho, Georgia, from the Vinci in Texas. I love you. You're coming on that spot. Yes, coach. I got you. Curtis Wilcox, Pat Dioria, where he's rising on. I got you. P-Funk Radio, I got you today. All day, Keith. All day, gang. All day, Funky Jones. I always love my mama, yo. Happy Mother's Day. We got the perfect mother on your plate. Yes, we do. Kim now with us. Funk with the front seat. Oh yeah, I'm feeling good, yo.
But then you said, now see, when all that game on was going on, I tell you one thing I never forget. Man, was we crazy? Yeah, man.
Y'all sit back, relax. Remember, it's nothing but peace, love, and harmony. Please stay active on the chat line. We love that. We need that. Forgive me if I'm a little hoarse today. I performed last night, but I'm pushing through it. Today, Funk from the front seat, man. I got a special woman. She's special to me. Kind of gave me some insights and some training when I first got into this podcast video thing at IBM TV, which is now Pod TV. So, we still down with them. It's all good. I love this woman, man. And, it's Mother's Day. So, I want to see some of the Mother's Day comments coming in as we're going to chat with this beautiful spirit, one of my favorites. Kim Calhoun is in the front seat right now. Boom.
Hi.
What up? What up?
Oh my gosh, I'm having a bad hair day, right? See this sticking out? Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. I'm celebrating two beautiful graduations. My son, which graduated last week, and then a very, very dear soul who's been like a daughter to our family, graduated today. So it's been like a blessing this year, right? Yeah, just good things. Zach, it's so good to see you.
You
it's
too.
so
I miss you. Everything happens in the time that is supposed to happen. It's the right time now to reconnect, and I'm proud of you, man, because, I ain't going to go into all that other stuff, but I want to tell you, I'm really super duper proud of you. I know you have fortitude and strength.
I'm proud of you. Look at you.
We're trying to do something. We're trying to do something. We're trying to make a little noise,
Zach,
thing.
I think that's something. But that's something to be said, that you have a dream, you have a vision.
Yeah. I was going to ask you now, always on the one. That was going to be the first thing I was going to ask you. Where's the funk? On the one. That's right. We got some serious stuff going on. Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you. I was going to make sure you remember. Where's that funk? On the one. Give people that's just tuning into the show for the first time a little bit of your background and what you all about, because you're an extremely educated woman, highly on the top shelf of inventions, and you've done so many things. But could you give us a little overview?
So a quick overview. I just try to work to make changes in the world that improve our quality of life. I started out as an engineer, and over those years of being a telecom engineer, I saw how the industry was changing. So I went out and became an entrepreneur and started my own phone company. We changed the industry. We were the first to go flat rate billing. We introduced that to the industry, as well as, just so that people could afford a phone. Because back in the day, you had to come up with big deposits, be approved. That wasn't where we were at. We just allowed anyone to get a phone if they could pay a flat rate. We also were the first to introduce voice over IP. I was the first engineer, not the first engineer, but one of the lead engineers for fiber back in 1993, which is now being deployed everywhere. So it's taken it a while, but we got it working back then. They just kind of sat on it. But then became passionate about something else. And Zach, you know this about me. Through my journey, very dear and wonderful, beautiful people in my life became victims of domestic violence.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
And nothing was ever done about that. So while I watched the courts struggle with him trying to enforce protective orders because they couldn't, and by the time you realize they were too, violated, it was usually too late for the women. I did the statistics on it because I'm an engineer. That's what I'm going to look for. 12 million women are victims. 24 million children are victims. Actually, about 6 million males are victims of this horrific crime. And our country does nothing. And, they'll issue a protective order. And within 48 hours, 85% of the time, that order will be violated with a crime worse than it was originated for. And you can try to dispute these numbers all you want. What you're going to find is probably they're worse than what I just quoted you. But 12 million females, that is 24 per minute every day of the year. And that's just in the US. So, I went to people that I knew and said, AI is available. Tracking is going to become available. Let's pull together and make something that can enforce protective orders, that can collect data and help prevent the crimes, help predict when somebody's going to violate them, because we can do that. And nobody wanted to do it. So I did it. And invented it, invented the use of technology, patented it. They told me no more software codes were allowed to be patented, but I got mine patented. And so here we are. Over that course, I ended up going into the TV industry with Nick Palaveda, who is now my partner with Pod TV. We've been working together since 2016 when we met at PBS. And we joined forces to do TV shows to help inspire financial literacy, to close that gap between poverty and sustainability. And so, because we felt like if we did that, we would help improve lives, decrease other kinds of crimes, and just inspire people to become healthy and wealthy and maintain. So that's a lot. But I love what I do at Pod TV. We were IBM TV. We had a contract with them for 2 years. When the contract expired, we went out on our own. I had, like any entrepreneur, you learn to think ahead. And so I had acquired Pod TV years earlier with the idealism of saying, hey, I would like to get podcasters and convert them to TV. So so that's where we are today. You met us during our ramp up. We now are, receiving 350,000 views a week. We met our goal. Our goal was 1 million by December. We were at 1.2 then. We're at 2.4 now. So 2.4 million views. That's not bad. We compete against CNN. We've been told that we're in top competition with CNN. My goal is that we're better because we're real people with real stories that are not twisting them and trying to convince people to do a certain way. We're not paid for by pharmaceutical or politicians. We are just the pure, like you, because you were there, real stories from real people, your real life. And that's what we wanted to inspire, and provide minorities a platform for their voice. So, and we're also, we're channels. We've got 4 channels and more on Roku and Amazon. We are the only small TV network who can run live on those platforms. We do our shows live. Nobody else can do that. So, we've come a long way, baby.
Proud of you guys, man. Yo, I be peeping it over there. I'm watching, I'm in my lane, so I'm watching. I pay attention. Plus, Mark produced over there. So we're gonna unpeel some of these onions and these layers. We're gonna go back to your invention. And I'm so sorry. I understand that environment. I grew up in it, and it's just I understand it. I've been through it. And let's go back to, why do you think deep down the government, the man, did not want to pass whatever test or whatever codes you needed for that domestic violence bracelet? Was it a watch or something you told me?
It was just a tracking device. We were trying to make it. I mean, our prototype was like a watch, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember we talked about this a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that we needed codes or law. We needed laws. They did, start enforcing laws. Biden enforced probably one of the first laws way long time ago to protect women and children of domestic violence. He was the first and the only to continue it. The problem was getting people to not fear the technology. I had a lot of men feared it because, maybe they're guilty of it. And they were like, well, you're going to prove me guilty. I said, no, we'd like to prove you innocent. What if it proved you didn't keep violating the order? She was just saying you were, because it's always he said, she said in court. What this does is collect the data. But what it could do is deter their thought, right? So we had a lot of pushback. There was a law being issued at the same time by the governor, McCrory. Governor McCrory was pushing what I call the potty bill. He was trying to incite fear about transgenders going into the bathroom, and he wanted to protect children from this. And I'm like, well, what about the bill sitting on your desk to protect women and children from violence of every kind, not just what you're prejudiced against, but every crime.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they let him and Tom Tillis let that bill go to sleep, the one that would protect women and children everywhere, not just in a bathroom, but everywhere. And that's what I try to tell people. Why not protect people everywhere, not just in a bathroom? He was just being prejudiced.
That's odd.
Yeah, well, they were all doing that because this is what people don't understand, because I read a lot of the bills when they're in question. And in that bill, there was a lot of prejudice written against gays, that employers could fire people because of their gender choice. And inside of that bill, that same bill, was a cap on minimum wage. And what does that do, Zach? When they cap minimum wage, what does that do? That hurts the people, the minorities, the people who are struggling to get ahead.
That's right.
So that's what he was really doing. And he was using people's fear and prejudice and hate against, a certain community to push his bill through. And by doing so, he turned the whole country against North Carolina because, I don't know if you remember this, but they disallowed the basketball tournaments. We were no longer allowed
up in Charlotte.
Right. We were no longer, and the government employees were no longer allowed to travel into North Carolina. So if I had to meet with them, I had to go to them. Wow. So so they banned, and celebrities banned doing concerts here. Concerts that I was buying tickets for got canceled because they're like, we don't want to be in a prejudiced state.
Yeah.
So
they lost money.
But has it fixed anything? No. Did it fix anything? And something else that people don't realize and they don't pay attention to because they're prejudiced, it's just so askewed, is there was no enforcement in, so if somebody violated it, what do you do with them? Nothing. There was nothing written in there that if they violated, if they went into the bathroom, nothing happened. They just went in and they could be arrested, but nothing happened.
But the thing with that, when I heard that, I said, this is so stupid, right? Because you ever been at the fair or some outdoor event where there are just stalls and there's not male or female? So I couldn't understand what the boggle was with that bill because it was in a specific place. It just made no sense to me because we all share bathrooms. Doesn't matter what you are. If you go to the fair, you just in a porta potty. You know what I'm saying? You ever
went swimming in the lake and peed in the lake? I mean, there you go, folks. But here's the thing. It wasn't. You need to understand the government mindset. It was used to flex their muscles on a certain political platform and to incite fear by using their religion as a crutch. So, God said this is a bad thing. But they were using the fear of prejudice and hate to incite their political platform. So then they got a lot of political gain from their supporters and their churches and their people who hate a certain community. I don't hate them. I don't hate people for being who and what they are, as long as they're not killing people and hurting someone. And I just want to get the word out there before anyone says, well, one trans shot up a school, so they're all bad. No. Absolutely. That's one. Do you know how many shooters and how many mass shootings at schools there have been? And do you know what the number one shooter is? A male who's not gay or trans. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you look at the odds are they possess more danger to our society than the trans community.
And you're right. And so here's the thing, because we're going to show a little bit of your commencement speech at NC State. But before that, or after that, I pulled up a graphic the other day about how many young teenagers are in crisis, especially young ladies. But, I just pulled it up. It's just a slide. And I was going to interject that because with all of the things that we're trying to do in this country to make this country better, we have to always remember we cannot overlook young people. We have to validate their thoughts. We have to nurture them. We raise them to get out there and run the country, but then it's like we don't trust them. So I didn't want it up yet, Mark. Not yet. But yeah, okay. No, leave. Yeah, not yet. Thank you, though. But we raised them to do the right thing, and we have to trust them. And I just wanted to say that, but I'm gonna get into that later. I still want to get back to this domestic violence. We're hanging out today. Worldwide, beautiful spirit, Kim Calhoun from Pod TV. She's done just about everything and is still knocking it out. I'm very proud of her, and I love this woman a lot. She helped me start some stuff with this Funk from the Front Seat, and that was cool,
Way to go, George.
Yeah. That's it. You have a lot of fans that still remember you, Brooks, and everybody. They still love you. So everything is about timing.
All the people who hated, and wanted this separation, when I go to their homes, I'm going to ask them where my bathroom is. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So let's focus on this crime thing that's going on. The mass shootings, the just beating up Asian people, rampaging through stores and pillaging what they call, I don't know, they got a name for it. All these people just come in and just start stealing shit, right? What do you think?
Riots.
Yeah. What do you think? No, not the riot, but they do it in packs, like they did it in California. It's got a name to it. They do it in packs. They did it in Staten Island, New York. They did one in Brooklyn, and they're just going in like 30, 40 kids, gangs, and just stealing shit and then just running away. But why do you think our PTSD post-COVID has not been brought to the forefront so the country can realize everybody's suffering from PTSD? Because that's the number one thing I see.
Well, I don't think everyone's suffering from PTSD. I think that there's a mass majority. I think so we've got a problem, and everybody always wants to blame a president or whatever. But what we don't understand is this problem's been brewing and stewing for years. It didn't just happen overnight. It's kind of like when you read the title of a book, but it's not always just that title. It's what's inside the book, right? So we've built and the ripple effects that happen. So one of the things I'd like to point out is when COVID hit, the first thing I said when they started issuing these PPP loans, and they weren't supposed to forgive them, you were supposed to, there were terms with them, but all the wealthy got them, all the wealthy. And how much money did they issue you, Zach? 1,700?
Not much.
1,700?
Not much.
Okay,
less than that.
I'm just saying. But hear me out on this. Okay, so they issued the people $1,700 each, and that's supposed to, we're all going, yay, we're so stupid. I got 1,700. Oh boy, I wasn't doing that, but the rich people issued them, and the government issued themselves checks in the millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we've got a list of it right now. After COVID, they come back and they go, guess what? And the Republicans voted on this, and they said, we don't have to pay this back. We're going to forgive it. We're going to forgive the millions of dollars. Now, what came with that PPP was the element that said you were supposed that this is where I'm going to why people are stealing. Okay. The element of this was you were supposed to pay your employees with a PPP loan.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't. None of them did.
Yeah.
And they counted on you getting that $1,700 while they got millions, and they all pocketed that millions, and they're on vacations, traveling around the world, doing whatever they want with the money now because they don't have to pay it back. Now, we, as all these people, get $1,700. They walk away with millions scot-free. So people lost their jobs. I saw people get laid off. They didn't pay them like they were supposed to, these very wealthy people. So I understand the mentality of saying, you know what, screw all of y'all. I don't have a job. I'm in debt up to my ears. Nobody forgave my loan. Nobody forgave this for me. Nobody's helping me. And they're going out and they're just reclaiming what's theirs the old-fashioned way, right? The Robin Hood way. Yeah. And I don't think what they're doing is right. I think what they need to do is go to Washington in millions and go, why did you give me $1,700 and debt to live on while you paid yourself millions that you wrote off, that you forgave? So I think that it's the Robin Hood syndrome of we've been screwed. We continue to get screwed. No administration is really doing anything for us. But what they're doing is they're hurting the people, the very people who care for them. Because when you come and rob my store or you steal from me, I am a hardworking person. The middle class is what needs.
Exactly. And that term, Mark pulled it up, is called flash rob. That's what it was
called. Flash
called.
robbing, right.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing this happening actually a lot right out COVID anyway, that they would go into these stores as a group. In fact, I witnessed it. I was at a store one day and this couple went in because there's not enough employees and they filled up their cart and walked straight out the door with it. And I'm not going to jump them and stop them. They look like they could beat the crap out of me. And I'm not going to call the police because by the time they get there, it's too late. But they're the reasons that our prices go up. So they're hurting the very people that can help them. And what they need to do is unite as a force, go to Washington and say, damn it, give us back the money that you paid yourself and then forgave yourself to pay back. We want that money back in circulation where it belongs because that's what's wrong with today. That's what needs to happen.
It is. And we're hanging out with Kim Calhoun from Pod TV today. You know, my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, back there doing a great job. I'm your host, number 9. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV every Saturday at 12 o'clock. Thank you guys for staying active on the chat line. We had a lot of people making comments, and I appreciate that. Dr. Brookenstein, of course, we love you. Georgia, Elizabeth, we love you over there in Ireland, and, you know, James Jones, and, you know, all the people that, you know, support the funk and know what we're doing out here, man. Edward Jones, my little brother up in the Ville. Yo, you know I got you, Robert and James. Y'all are my heart and soul, and I'm gonna keep funking for you. I got my energy back now. Kim is a major player in the new brand style of TV, and I want to ask you, now that you know it's established that the underground is now above ground, and so many independent stations are pushing their narrative. How do you narrow down, or how do you think a person that wants to see a specific thing can narrow down their choices? Because some of the stuff out here is bullshit, right? And then some of it is not. So with so many choices now, how do you think that's affecting our ability to make a decent decision?
So, and you're like me, you kind of rely on the words of your parents. I've heard you quote your dad before, and it was some beautiful things. I rely on something my dad told me one time, that people will continue looking and listening to things until they hear what they want to hear. So I don't know that you can.
That's good.
Okay. And so he's very right. So, you know, like the left, they're going to go to wherever they're going to hear things that support the left, and the right. So if your mindset is this is what I want to hear, you're going to keep flipping that channel until you see and hear what you want to hear.
I remember that.
So, but think about it this way. PBS is truly a paid for by the federal government. They have to adhere to journalistic ethics more so than anyone else. Everyone else's broadcasting is somewhat funded by the government, I believe, because they provide public service announcements. So that's why you have antenna TVs for people who can't afford cable or anything like that. So I think if you truly want the truth, go to the networks that do not have commercials. Go to networks that are not paid for by commercials. Do not watch shows that are, because what you're getting is the word that commercial wants you to know. So go to networks, PBS, that for the most part, I trust them. I don't think they're as entertaining, but, when we were working with the president of CBS about doing a show, all they could say is, if it doesn't bleed, it doesn't lead. And I go, what is that feeding our minds? Right. So we fed our minds so much crap. We want, that's what people start craving. And we need to kind of hopefully reel that in and change it. And that's what I want to change. I want to get rid of the advertising. That's why I'm tired of Facebook. I can't halfway read anything that anybody's saying without advertisements. Most of the advertising on there is not even vetted. So you can't even, most of it's scams. So I say go to places that are not paid for by commercial, but maybe more sponsored. Be careful of pharmaceutical supported TV shows, political supported TV shows, because that's the only view you're going to
That's
get.
right. That's right. And you're right about Facebook, because to me, I call it a toxic cesspool. I have to maneuver
Of
for my
hate.
music and for my business and for a few friends. But see, Facebook to me is just like a tool. I don't overuse it. I don't abuse it. And all of that other stuff that circles in there, I pay not nearly an attention to it, because I already know, like turning 65, I'm like, there's nothing I haven't seen under the sun. So you trying to give me this and that, it's not going to work on me. And that's why I laugh at some of the stuff that people fall for, because a king of Siren is not going to send me $200 million if I send him 50. Like, what kind of logic is that?
Well, I get so it's something else that bothers me about Facebook right now is, I've been in their Facebook jail a couple of times for whatever reason.
I see that. You do go to jail.
Hey, Nick got decapitated. They literally deleted his 20,000 and his friends. But and they're getting ready to decapitate me because I'm competing against CNN and Fox, who is their thing. And they've brought that up to me a few times. I get these messages about that. But let me tell you something. There's a thing out there that has Fox News on it. And and they send it to you and it looks like a Fox News story. You open it, it's all porn. Every bit of it is, and child porn. I've had in my messenger this, which is very disgusting. Men from Facebook send me all kinds of disgusting porn. And so I report them. Now listen to this, Zach. I report them to Facebook. Facebook doesn't delete them. They don't put them in jail. They don't give them a warning. And in fact, they tell them I reported them. Then they start harassing me. So Facebook is promoting the exact thing they said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And people have their children on there. They've started a children's sector. And you can't tell me if they're sending porn to me that they're not sending child porn to these kids and promoting hate. But and one more thing that bothers me is people have, because they're not face to face, they have more false power to say rude things to people.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Promote hate. So this is what I do. I'm now using my Facebook as a filter because people have no fear of saying whatever they want.
Yeah.
Me, but I'd have no fear saying whatever I want anyway. So, but they are more mean. But I'm using it as a filter of who I really want to hang out with during my after hours, and certainly who I want to date if I ever want to date again. Because I see the real them coming out, and they're hateful, they're nasty, they're mean, and I don't want to be around people. But I use it. I hate to say it. I use it as a filter.
Yeah, I have so many filters set up on my stuff, and I got rid of all the hate mongers. It took me about 6 months to really personally cater my Facebook pages to me. Now, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff because I have certain people that can only look and see my stuff but can't comment. I have so I went through a lot of those filters, and they are there. It's just a pain in the ass. You got to dig so deep to get them. But hang out with us on the other side. We're going to talk about some more things like healthy choices, diets. We're going to look at your NC State, a little bit of that commencement video, which made me so proud. So hang out, Mr. Mark Lee. I love to hear Keith Jackson's voice. So let's do this. Funk from the front seat.
This is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey there, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here. Just wanting to give a shout out and say congratulations to my brother, Zach Robinson, who's been going 2 years strong, bringing you the funk from the front seat each and every week. Go check him out on 9 on the Grind TV and on YouTube, where each week he has amazing guests, powerful conversations, and of course, brings the funk like no other. Keep bringing the funk, my man, and congratulations again for hitting your 2-year mark. That's Funk from the Front Seat. Catch it live at 12 p.m. noon East Coast time, or the replays over on YouTube. And stay funky, my friends.
2 years. Peace.
It's been 3, actually. Mark ran the wrong one. This month was 3.
It's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week, along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check him out.
This is Joe Keys of Joe Keys and the Late Bloomer Band. Just did a show with my man Zach. Number 9. That's right. Number 9's got it going on. Check out Funk from the Front Seat. Zach Robinson. Serious good vibrations, y'all. What we need. Peace.
That's cool. And we want to definitely thank P-Funk Radio, JTRP for always spinning the music. Gabe, on his show on Wednesday nights, DJ Godzilla, Larry Funkster Jones on Saturday nights, and all the P-Funk family. I'm repping your shirt today, you guys can see. So thank you, P-Funk Radio, and all the people that support it. HJ Entertainment, Heidi, I love you, K&N Jams. Thank you, Kev. Man, we got some work to do. Tony Cameron, the Funk All-Stars. Can't wait to go out on tour with you guys. Of course, the Nappyhead Funk Army, showed up and showed out last night, 2.0. I'm feeling you. Oak City Music Collective, Diego and Tammy, I love you guys. Afterglow, 92416. Donna, Q&A Entertainment, I love you. Otis, y'all are dope. Brooke Cladgett, my Funk Angel. I'll see you when I'm out on tour with Mandrill, and that's going to be so dope. Patricia Dioria, Aquarius Rising Art, Curtis Wilcox, and George DeFunco Vinci, who take care of all my artwork. And Dr. David Brookenstein, basically, one of our assistant managers at the Nappyhead Funk Army Camp, taking care of my website and all that good stuff, postings and following up on things. Thank you so much. And last but not least, DJ Cocalino, Elizabeth in Ireland, I love you guys. DJ Monica in Switzerland, I love you. Tanny, so sister, I love you guys, man. David Webb, Funk Chronicles in Ohio. You guys need to go check it out. It's the Funk Hall of Fame. Every funk artist is in there in Dayton, Ohio, the Funk Chronicles. And I was blessed enough to be interviewed by that brother, and I'm going to have him on the show next month. So that's a shout out to all the people that support the show, of course. Boosie and Patty, you guys are dope. And everybody that's watching, stay on the chat line. We are today hanging out. One of those brilliant women I know, Kim Calhoun. And you did a commencement speech a little bit at NC State. Before we do that, set it up and tell us what it was about.
The commencement speech was about the keys to prosperity and to inspire the number one rule that NC State lives by. If you know who Jimmy Valvano was, he inspired, don't give up, don't ever give up. So my speech was to kind of give them a little bit about what it's like to be an engineer. Not many women become engineers, even though they went to the school. It's a lot of work. But to inspire them to not give up, but continue doing good work and execute with excellence.
So I always think that anybody that gets a chance to do a commencement speech is like special. I've never
been an honor.
It's got to be.
I get goosebumps thinking about it today. And you have to remember this is an engineering school to begin with, and no other woman had spoke there before as a keynote for that. So it was a dream I never dared to dream. As a woman, seriously, I just never even dared to dream to be able to speak at a university for computer science or engineering. NC State is very different than many of them. One of the reasons why I went to work with them is they were researching why so many women dropped out of engineering school when I came on board. So, but yeah, I still get goosebumps thinking about it because these are our future. But yeah. They did all the work, and I still glow from. Yeah, it was wonderful, and I met so many beautiful people. Yeah.
Mark, do we have that little video clip ready? Can we run that? Thank you, sir.
So let's talk about some of the keys of success. Yes, I have been fortunate enough to speak with some of the world's leading CEOs, book authors, and money experts about success. They all have a different wonderful story, but I kind of pulled together what I call the 5 Ps. Okay? Let's talk about that. First, you got to have passion. Ken says this better than anyone I've ever heard. It resonates through me when he says it. Love what you do. I think that's what Lori was saying today. Love what you do. But I'm going to tell you what, sometimes you're not going to love what you do. So you let what you do be the vehicle to take you to where you want to love something. And don't forget about those you love while you're getting there. Sometimes we have to sacrifice a few things. Don't sacrifice that. Okay? So have passion. Find a purpose in life, a dream, a project, something to work on. And then plan that project. Put it on paper. Talk about it. If you can't say it, you won't be it. Because let me tell you something. When you start talking about it, it becomes real. And then the most important part, pursue it. Execute it with excellence. Right? Now you've got everything you need. That ball is rolling, nothing's stopping you. But guess what? Something did. There's a wall there. You can't get around it. So what's that final P? It's the most important part. It's one of the most inspirational speeches of all times, my all time anyway. Jimmy Valvano, he said, what did he say? He said, don't give up. I'm going to tell you something. I would not have walked on this stage today. I would not be standing before you or even going out dancing tonight, celebrating your success. Dancing. If it were not for that speech, because it resonates through my life. It sits on my desk. Don't give up. Okay? Don't ever give up. Every one of the successful people I interview, that is the main key ingredient to their success and why they're millionaires and billionaires. They don't give up. So I want you to repeat after me, please. I love to engage. Don't give up. Come on. Come on. Don't give up. Don't ever give up, right? Come on. Let me hear it. You're better than that. Come on. Thank you very much. You know what? It has been a very big honor to speak with you. I want you to go out there and execute with excellence and show the world what you have. And please link in with me and share your stories with me because I love it. Congratulations. It's not my speech. They love so much. I sat on the board of advisors there and was the director. And I was honored to be able to sit there maybe an extra year or two than what you're supposed to. And I miss it. I miss them so much.
Yeah. That's powerful. You know, I was listening to those words and Jimmy V, of course, being from Jersey, when, you know, they was in the tournament, everybody from New York was rooting for NC State. They made a miraculous run, you know, and then they finally got to that last game, last crazy shot and got it and won it. And he was running around the court, you know, and we're like, yeah, you know, Jay, because he's Italian. Jimmy V, you know, Jersey, I'm from Staten Island. So we was all like Goombas. We was like, yo, Jimmy V got that shit popping down south, right? So then, you know, of course, he became ill and, you know, the famous speech and, you know, and his movement on ESPN and everything, and they do it every year and they do the whole thing. It started with those words, don't give up. So anybody watching the show, whatever you got going on, don't give up. And we're going to get into mental health in a minute. And please, anybody out there suffering from mental health, call the mental health hotline. We have that number somewhere. We always post it, as well as call somebody, call a friend, talk to somebody. It's very, very important. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, all the aunts, all the sisters, all the cousins, all the godmothers, all the friends of friends of friends who are ladies. Happy Mother's Day to you. Any birthdays or anniversaries out there, we love you. Shout out to you. It's Pride Month, so treat everybody with dignity and respect. Happy Pride Month and happy Military Appreciation Month for anybody that served in the military. We don't forget you. We love you. We know that's very important. We can't do what we do if you guys don't do what you do. You stand guard on the wall each and every night. And anybody that ever was in the military, like George on the thread and everything, we appreciate you. Thank you. You know, you guys don't go unnoticed. We're hanging out with the amazing, beautiful Kim Calhoun today. And we got a graphic that I wanted to show before we get into healthy foods. Mark, could you put that graphic up real quick about the emergency room visits of young ladies and young men that have mental issues? This really hit home with me, Kim. And this is the last minute thing on the show, but I know I wanted to talk to you about this. Now, check this out. Anybody that's watching, check this out. These are teenagers, right? And look how many girls are having mental issues and crisis situations as compared to boys. But if you combine both of those, 6.4 thousand every day go into a crisis situation. We have got to help these young people. We have got to do it. Yes, Mark, you can run the 988 mental health suicide hotline. That would be great. We have got to do it because this is our future. Look at this, 6,000, 6,500, 6,500 people a day, young people, and twice as many girls. So what are we doing with self-esteem? What are we doing with commercials? How are we showing our young kids, you know, and letting corporate America lead them down these paths that we know is no good through some of the music, through some of the styles they see on TV? You know, Kim, what are we doing here?
We're becoming bullies in our country. Social media, the pandemic had isolated us enough that we no longer have empathy for each other when we talk, but our nation has become nothing but hate and bullies. And it's just getting more and more promoted. I think if you look at the two differences here, why are girls, double or close to double is there's a thing called, and I'm going to be doing a book on this one day, fame versus shame. And what happens is a girl and a guy can do the same thing, and the guy's going to get fame for it, and the girl's going to get shamed for it. And a lot of people don't pay attention to it, but kind of like the issue of banning abortion, right? So I posted something about, who's going to take care of the unwanted babies when they're born? Because, we already have a domestic violence issue with 24 million a year for children. You're going to just create more if you're going to force women to have these babies. And a lot of people started posting, people always want to post the negative, not the positive, right? And so they were hating me for even bringing it up. And their hate went so far, and mostly GOP, people from the GOP side. And I'm neither side, but the hate that I was seeing was they should keep their legs closed. Shame on them for getting pregnant. Yes. They need to be responsible. Women need to be responsible for having a baby. So all the blame was on the woman. Not one of them answered my question. Who's going to help them pay for raising these kids? Why did not one male who posted on my thread go, Kim, the men should have to pay for this? Not one. They all shamed the women.
Yeah. And you're right, by the way, a woman's body is her personal choice. That's my view on the show. And that, this show is non-Republican, nor Democrat, nor liberal, nor nothing. We just a show that kicks it like it is. And I'm telling you, it's a woman's right, because I have more important things to worry about as a human being than whether or not somebody decides that they want to have a child or not. That's their personal choice. And the thing that hate that they got spewed at you, shame on them for spewing that hate.
I was just looking for a solution.
Yeah, shame on them.
How can we solve the problem? Because if you're asking these women to continue, I'm not trying to bring a political platform. That was just one incident. What I'm saying is they shamed the women. Not one of them said anything about the men. So when you look at these two numbers, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Yeah. This happens in anything. If you look at, but when you talk to a lot of women, you will hear them say, I'm sorry, every other word, some women. Especially women in domestic, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I'll fix that. I'm sorry. I'll make sure that never happens. Men don't do that at work. They never really go, I'm sorry, I'll fix that. No, they don't say I'm sorry first. They go, you know what? I got busy. I got tied up over here and I'll get to it later, but it will get done. That's the difference, right? And women get more and more shamed because when you say I'm sorry, immediately you've established guilt. And then everybody goes, my God, she must be guilty of something all the time. Yeah. So I tried to coach women, especially women in domestic violence, which are harder to break of this. I counted it one time, like 100 times that day. One of the girls said, I'm sorry. The first word out of her sentence would always be, I'm sorry. And I'm like, we got to reprogram here.
Yeah, we do. That's right.
And I saw a post the other day, and this could be for anyone. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, say thank you. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I'm late, walk up there and go, thank you for waiting and being patient.
Yeah.
Right?
Mark, you can take that graphic down now, because the reason why I wanted to show this and add this to the show today is because I know you're an advocate for many, many different groups, and you're always on the front line. And anybody that's on the front line, I appreciate it. I posted the other day Teddy Roosevelt's speech, marred in the arena. That's one of those most powerful speeches, and I read that speech like once or twice a month, because he said it, and not to exactly quote what he said, but basically, the person in the arena is the one that should get, the credit, because they're down there fighting, and everybody else on the side that sits there and just talks and laughs and points fingers, they're not really doing anything. So be positive out there in the world today. Try to uplift somebody, try to make an I care call today. Call your mother. For those of you,
and another thing I want to share with you is when I stepped down from my position at NC State, UNC Chapel Hill of Excellence Department for Mental Health asked me to sit on the board. So I'm now sitting on the board for mental health at UNC Chapel Hill for research for all of these problems that we're talking about. So just to give some people ideas, if you want to be a part of improving this, feel free, I'm not trying to raise money here, but donate to it, get involved with it. It's a huge program. Go do marathons with them and get involved, because when you reach out like that and help people up, it feels good for you. So even if you're feeling depressed, when you help someone else up, you feel better. And this is what we need to do. And I'm trying to get rid of stop putting people down, right? Stop doing the one-upping. We got to get rid of this one-upping, because it keeps escalating until people got to kill each other. So let's get rid of the one-upping and help one up. Amen. This is what I'm trying to say. Stop the one-upping and help one up. And And I want to tell you, one of my favorite speeches is Denzel Washington. Did I get that right? Yeah. He did a graduation speech, and he ended it with, aspire to make a difference, aspire to inspire, aspire to make a difference. That resonates in me, that if you wake up every day, that's how we start. Wake up every day, get on your knees and thank God that you woke up. You're here for a purpose.
Prayer, that's right.
Then when he wrapped up, it was aspire to, inspire other people. So think about that. When you wake up, don't wake up with the idea of who can I hurt today, or how can I bring people down. Wake up with how can I help people.
That's right. And, we have enough problems in society when we step out our doors or wherever, right? So we don't need to punch down on yourself. So for everybody out there, don't beat yourself up for things that are just naturally occurring.
Hug yourself.
Right. Yeah. Don't punch down on yourself. Like, know that there are plenty of people out here that love you. We're going to support you. We're going to lift you up. I needed it. You needed it. We all needed it. We all come together and get each other when that time is needed. So don't think that you're not important enough. You deserve the love. Don't reject it. Embrace it. Take it. Love it. And get as much as you can. And when you're full, go spread the extra to somebody else, because that's the only way. Yes, that's the only way. Because when it comes down to choices, we all make our choices, right? And some good, some not so good. Mm-hmm. But be, I guess I want to say, all in on the choices you make if that's your passion. Getting back to what you said at that speech, that passion, if that's your passion, trust it. You may not make all the money you want to make. You may not do this or do that, but you'll be happier. And that's the most important thing. You'll be happier inside. I want to bring Mark on in a minute, but before I do, I'm going to set this up, and then we're going to come on and talk a little bit. We're hanging out today with the amazing, beautiful, like super talented, uber kind. This woman has always been sweet and kind to me, Kim Calhoun, and I really appreciate you. And especially because
I missed you, Mark. Mark, yeah, Zach.
That's okay. That's okay. I missed you too. That's why I tried to stay in touch, and I wanted you for our anniversary month because this month we've had special guests on. You know, it's our anniversary 3rd year, and you know, we're blessed to be doing it. And for a while, I was like, nah. And then I was like, no, you can't quit. And I'm like, what I'm trying to, no, keep doing it, keep going, keep going. Like, you know, Patty Collins and Bootsy Collins, keep going. You know, Kevin Harrington, keep going. And I'm like, okay, for them, I'm gonna keep going. But I realize I'm doing it for me as well because I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you, man, and I miss your face, and I miss our Dunkin' Donuts time. You know what I'm saying? I need that Dunkin' Donuts.
We'll get back to that. I'm just not around much. I'm not home much because
I know you've been traveling.
I want to change the world, but I've got one more thing to share with you.
Yeah, sure. You got time.
Right. So, you know how we were talking about Facebook, and you know how I get when I get fed up with something. You know, my thing is stop complaining about it and do something. So, guess what I did?
What'd you do?
I started my own social media website.
What's it called?
It will launch soon. We're going to call it Chatter, but we couldn't acquire chatter.com. So it's Pod TV Chatter. It's all about, you know, we don't allow a lot of advertising. If there's some advertising, it'll be more like sponsors on the side. But it won't be in the thread. You can't advertise. You can't, no pornography, no profanity, no bullying, no hate. We're going to be the original. We're going to stick to that, and we're not going to allow it.
Because that may be something that's pretty cool that I may be interested in too to check out, you know?
Well, we're going to be all about promoting good TV shows too. That's Pod TV Chatter. So we want to unite people based on their favorite TV shows. They want to have conversations about the financial literacy. What did you learn? You know, what did you learn on Zach? I learned the Lundy, you know. So, you know, what did you hear on Zach? I heard that there's a problem with, you know, mental health, and how can I get involved? And what's that number that they said I can call? So, you know, that kind of thing. I want that kind of positive. I want, you know, we'll influence a lot of it to keep it that way. But I've talked to a lot of people who said, I am so fed up with Facebook. I took my kids away from it. They're not allowed near it. Twitter became really, really hateful and bad because it became all about politics. The only one I really like is Instagram. I've yet to see hate posted on Instagram. So
yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, TikTok, and all that. But see, I don't monitor that stuff because I just have it because I'm supposed to have it as an artist. And I see, I don't get involved. I'll always comment on Bootsy. I'll comment on some musicians, you know, Garrett Sheridan, people that I follow on Twitter. You know, and I don't really make comments because I talk a lot, so I've already talked my talk out. And the Facebook thing, I always called it the toxic cesspool. I'll tell anybody that it's a toxic cesspool. You just have to maneuver all the shit that fucking goes through there. And I gotta say it just like that because those are facts. Now, Instagram, I'm on Instagram as well. It's linked to my band pages. I love Instagram. And again, it's not set up to really blast people. That's why I like it, you know. Now, as far as the future goes, what is the name of your new one going to be called?
Pod TV Chatter. We're in beta right now.
Pod TV Chatter. Okay.
Yeah, we're beta testing right now, getting the kinks worked out of it because it's not perfect. I launched it at 2 a.m. Thursday morning. And then our team got on there to start running tests. You know, we found little kinks because I just launched it. I wrote it myself. And it's going to need some work, but I wanted to do a proof of concept that we could do something as good or close to. And then, try to develop it from there, maybe get some sponsors who are interested in saying, hey, we want a healthier atmosphere for our communities.
That's what's up. I think it's gotten so big now. Speaking of communities, we need to go back to the tribe thing. I tell everybody that. It's like each one teach one. In the tribe, everybody had a responsibility. The neighborhood was like that we all grew up in. We all need to get back to that, because right now we're filled with a future full of isolated boys and girls. Even though they're together, they sit at the table across from each other, young couples, they're looking right down. They're not looking at each other's eyes. They're just looking at their fucking phone. And
People, let me tell you something. I had a wonderful marriage with my husband. We were together since we were teens. And, back in the day, we didn't have internet. We barely had phones. We were very poor. We wrote each other letters, the long way. But I noticed this, like if I go out somewhere and I'll see couples and they're in their phones, they're not talking to each other. The first thing I do when I sit at the table with someone, whether I like them or not, I am there with them. My phone goes upside down.
Yeah, mine too.
Unless there's an emergency, I'm tracking, and I'm talking about like family, a friend, emergency that my phone goes upside down. You're here with me. You took time off to be with me. You have my 100% attention. And this is how I am going to rate who I will be with in my future, right? I want 100%. If I took time to be with you, I want you to be with me. And this is dangerous.
Yeah,
I find myself in it all the time. I do. It's very dangerous.
Yep. They set it up that way because everything is attached to it. And like I said, I drive Uber for a living when I'm not doing music, and I need it for that. And then I have to check, people coming in, fans and supporting this and that. So using it as a tool is becoming convenient. Because it has a map on it, has a flashlight, it's a tool, and it's a miniature computer, which technology allows us, even though this is 40 years old, and we know that because they got shit way better than this. But what they give to us, we need it now as a tool. But I think if I was with somebody, I'm like, yo, I'm only checking for emergencies or this and that. I got to focus on the person, man. Mr. Mark Lee, I want you to jump in because we're going to talk to Kim about something that's really near and dear to me, and that is food poisoning, the stuff in the stores, and healthy choices and diet. And I'm proud to say I went from 240 down to 218. So my doctor's really happy. I've been really, really healthy. Having a beautiful lady in my life makes that possible. So that's dope. Mr. Mark Lee, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Like I said, went to the show yesterday. Your show was incredible and all in that space. So I thoroughly enjoyed it and enjoyed having that opportunity. Like I said, there was a lot of good music on that day because I had also seen a Indian group from India on that same day. So definitely it was great music, but your music capped it off and was tremendous, and your entire band was rocking. And I was glad that I was able to hear a good hour to an hour and a half of the show, which I know was longer than that, but I definitely had to deal with some stuff even with this show, but I had a great time, and I know the folks who were there had an amazing time. So glad to be there.
Well, thank you for that. That's very kind of you, man. I appreciate that. And I hope Martell is watching because he says I never take a compliment. So you can tell him I said thank you.
Well, and I'm going to get to one of your shows one day because, but again, I need a heads up like a month in advance, like we did the show, right? Because I love the music. You got me into the funk. So.
Yo, I got a friend of yours that just said hello. I wish we could send him the link real fast. Mom, see if you can send it. Don't tell her who it is. See if you can send that link.
I will see what I can do.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing. See if you can send it real fast. But a friend of yours just said hello, and maybe you'll get a chance to get out and see him. Speaking about healthy food and healthy choices, I noticed that so many people nowadays are giving up on fighting for healthy food. They've just said, I surrender. I'm just going to go and whatever's there, whatever y'all are selling me, I'm going to eat it. And they don't realize that's part of why we get sick. It's the system. You get sick, you go to the hospital, they charge you, now that you in their pocket for the rest of your life, then you go back, and then just enough to get well, then you eat the same crap and you sick again. Food, ladies and gentlemen, what you put in your body is important. I'll just say that way. Keeps your third eye wise. What do you have to say about that, Kim?
I think what you feed your body is what your results will be with your body. If you feed it bad things, you're going to have bad results. And you have to be very careful. And this is something I learn every day. But, even the fresh fruits and vegetables that we should be eating every day, they're coating them with things now that can be very dangerous that you can't even wash off. So, I'm truly miss the old fashioned, even going to the farmer's market. Hopefully local food is not doing that. But it's like your mind. What you feed your mind is what you get, right? If you feed it bad, nasty, crappy things, that's what you're going to produce. Your body's the same way. You can't expect it to function. Zach, you know this. You just lost a lot of weight. You can't expect to function if you're feeding yourself bad, right?
Yeah. I think, and this is why I'm such an advocate for it, because, any little form of exercise, walking, it reduces the stress factor, because there are more things we have to be stressful about now. Let's face it. There's so many things going on in the world, and then there's so many things going on in our country, and then in our states, and then in our neighborhoods. It's the trickle down effect, and I advise everybody, once, twice a week, if you can walk around, go outside, smell the fresh air, get some sunshine, meditate a little bit. It's not about a religious thing or none of that, or God or none of that. It's just about refreshing. Like you mentioned, feed your mind something healthy, Mark.
It's not just feeding the mind, though. It's also feeding all the aspects of what we're about. As y'all have been talking, I've been thinking about the fact that we have to feed all of what we're talking about, because you mentioned mental health, so you have to feed that physical body, but you also have to feed our mental space and our emotional space, and I would even argue our spiritual space. And I did not say religious, because I don't oftentimes I think that some of our churches and institutions are too caught up in the church of personality and the cult of personality, and not enough in the actual messages. Because I think that all of the religions of the world have a common goal and a common thought around the Most High, and all in that spirit. But I think we sometimes get too caught up in personality and in some of the building structures and in what you're wearing and all of that. So the last thing I'm going to say on this thought is, sometimes I think we get too caught up in, and y'all already mentioned it earlier, but there's too much of a crab mentality where a lot of people like to pull people down. We've seen that in the music business. We've seen it in the media business, when we've seen it in a number of other businesses. So that crab mentality is something else that we have to fight against as well, because we should be helping lift each other up. I know that that's what me and Zach do on a regular basis. I know that's what me and Kim do on a regular basis, but there are too many folks that are too busy trying to pull you down versus lifting you up, and are sometimes making your dreams their dreams, and that's not always the case. You have to be able to pursue
some of their dreams are nightmares.
Exactly.
I got something to add for Zach here. So you remember where we were talking about the mental problems that we were having, and then you just mentioned about eating healthy but getting out there and walking every day, get a little sunshine. So I just recently had a conversation with a doctor. I have treatments done once a month, so there's a group of people there, and she mentioned that we are vitamin D deficient, which is what vitamin D is, what helps cure depression. And she said we deplete it by, we all put sunblock on, wear our hats when we go outside. We don't absorb enough vitamin D. Plus, we're all inside all day. We play video games. We watch TV. We work. There's literally, we do not get enough. And you mentioned it, Zach, get out there, get some sunshine, walk. Get out there, get some sunshine and walk, because that is vitamin D. And that could help curb our depression issues that we're having. The kids today do not get out. They don't.
They play games, a lot of games. They're indoors a lot. And you're right. Because we were getting it naturally from the sun back in the day. And just being outside and playing and all this other stuff. And we didn't really think about deep depression. Yeah, we were sad as kids sometimes, but we didn't really go into that other thing because I don't think we had as much stuff to worry about. These kids today, that's why I validate young people. Every time I have someone in my car and I'm driving them or whatever, and I talk to them, I say, listen, I validate your opinion. I love you guys. Keep doing it, because every movement that was a movement, there were young people at the forefront of it, Mark, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you still there? Okay, yeah. Did you get that person on? Because I sent the link.
I've sent them a link and on a couple of ways, including emails. But if you want to send it as well, but I did send a.
Okay, I did send it. But anyway, we'll hang out another minute and see what happens with that. But yeah, so when we have so many discrepancies in poor neighborhoods. And this is just not about black neighborhoods. This is about poor neighborhoods, which are not just black. And in rich neighborhoods, I noticed there's a Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, churches, Popeyes, all on the same block. And then when I go to the ritzy neighborhoods that are all gated in and all kinds of shit, they got like, the salad bars and Panera bread and all of that stuff, right? And I'm like, there's a big vast difference between what rich people are eating and poor people are eating. How do we close that gap?
How do we close that gap? Educating. But here's the thing, we sell Happy Meals to kids, right? And the only way they can get a toy is if they ate the hamburger, the French fries, and the Coke. I used to go there and go, my kid doesn't eat hamburgers and French fries. Literally, he would not. He hated them. He learned that they create, problems in your body when he was very young, not even from me. And he wanted the toy. So I would have to buy a Happy Meal and then buy a salad. They would not give me a toy with a salad for my kid. They were promoting my kid to do what? To eat the bad food. They were making him happy eating bad. And we start this programming at what age? And they advertise it. Oh, this is the new Happy Meal.
Subliminal. That's right. Subliminal. Because spelling words are powerful.
And let me tell you something about the poverty versus, more than just sustainable, right? You said the wealthy and the poverty, but there's a sustainable mark. And even in the sustainable mark, we do not promote the getting out there and eating healthier. And by the way, I want to introduce my niece. Come on here. No, you look how beautiful she is. She just had a baby. Everyone.
Congratulations.
Isn't she beautiful? So
what's the baby's name?
In the front seat. He's been celebrating 3 years on TV and had me on the show today. And Mark, one of my producers, as well as his.
What's the baby's name?
Josie Rose.
Josie Rose. Oh my God, that's what's up. So, hey, Josie.
My little outlaw, she is. My little outlaw, Josie.
I love it. That's funky right there, Josie and the Pussycats. I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got the idea from.
Yo, I tell you, I knew. See, my third eye tells me certain things.
My girl, she is just the freest spirit in the world.
How do you like being a new mom?
Oh, I love it. She is the best. She makes it so easy.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Isn't she beautiful?
Yes, she is.
I love this girl. Anyway, and that one of the reasons why I want to stay on longer, but I'm going to have to go.
Okay, no worries. I'm going to give you the last word. We're going to give you the last screen. Mark, give Kim the last screen, and we're going to wrap up the show and talk a little bit more. Mark and I got some things we're going to talk about, but thank you so much. I want you to come back very, very soon. We're going to talk about, some other things like FOMO. Because I didn't get to that with your fear of missing out. But, we'll get to that on another show. And good luck with the Pod TV chatter. I'll be looking into that myself because I always love platforms that are dope. So, Mark, let's give Kim the big screen and give her the last word, please. And
I would definitely do that.
Y'all hang out. Miss Kim Calhoun, I'm so blessed to have you in my life. I love you, sweetie.
Love you, too. Hello, world. I just want to share with you how honored I am that Zach has had me on his show and celebrating his 3 years. And this is true inspiration about what it takes to become successful, right? Don't give up. Zach never gave up. He's got the biggest heart in the world. And I just want everyone to get into that funk, because funk is good music. It's more than just soul. It's more than soul food, right? It feeds your soul with good music, but also with good vibes of what he's talking about every week. And I'm going to try to catch more of his shows. I love you, Zach. Thank you very much for having me on the show. And everyone, instead of one upping, help one up. That's going to be my new campaign. Stay healthy and stay wealthy. Love you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. And you stay safe today on this beautiful day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Grandmother's Day. You got a baby and all. So, love it, man. So I'll talk to you later. All right, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mark. Check this out. When we have people on and we have guests on, we always do a follow-up post to say thank you and everything. And the reason we do that is because we want our guests, whoever they are, to know we personally appreciate your time, your energy, you setting up. Sometimes we get guests in California. They're 3 hours behind us. It's early in the morning, and they still come on this show. And that means so much to Mark Lee and myself that you guys take the time to do that. You guys always stay active in the chat line, George, and all the people that's there, and man, you guys, James Jones, and it makes me feel really, really honored to be holding up a piece of the funk and rocking the PFunkRadio.com, because that's my crew over there, man. Mark, jump back on for a minute, man. I want to ask you something.
How's it going there? Glad to see you.
We'll get into this with Kim, but one of the subjects I wanted to close on today is FOMO. And y'all know what FOMO is: fear of missing out. Okay. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because I think everything is moving so fast, and we've jumped into this parallel universe, and everybody thinks they have to be at every place doing everything all the time. And I'm telling you, it's the opposite. Be happy in your space. Be happy doing what you do. If you are worried in your space about what's happening in another space, you are truly neglecting your own happiness. So FOMO, fear of missing out. Don't worry, you ain't missing anything. You always are where you're supposed to be. Now, if there's something that you feel that you missed and you can make it up, you do it. But don't rush out of a situation that you're happy in because you're worried about missing out on something else. Because happiness comes from within. I found this out a lot lately. Comes from within. So when we are forced to be in a situation that makes us uncomfortable or unhappy or angry or mad, some of that's validated. But then sometimes we have to say, let me just slow down for a minute, because I'm thinking way, way too far in the future. Let me just enjoy the moment. So fear of missing out, please understand that that's a real thing. It's a real, I forget my voice saying last night, but that's a real thing. So when you're out there, man, enjoy the moment, be in your space, man. What you got to say about that, Mark?
Yeah, you definitely have to be in your own space. A lot of times we do have that fear of missing out or feeling that you have missed something that you were supposed to have done. So that is a very real thing that we have to fight against. And I think everybody has to fight against it because there are only so many hours in a day and only so many days in a week and so many weeks in a year. So you can't really do everything that you want to do all the time. So you have to prioritize, and prioritizing is very important as well. But I do think that sometimes we think that there have been new inventions that we might be able to do more than we can actually do. So we definitely have to prioritize. But, if you are doing it effectively and you are doing what you love, then I think that you will be doing what you need to be doing. Like I could tell that you truly had a love for being on the stage. And I know that that is something that you have a true passion about, and something that you are oftentimes trying to get on a more regular basis and all in that space. So definitely there is that notion of that fear of missing out and all in those lines. And sometimes we are not having that total connection to even our own families and to how the kind of inspirations that they have given us as well. So you talked about Kim and a surprise, and all along those lines, I've actually got one for you. So hold on one second.
Hold on 1 second. I wanted to shout out Gia Sister Funk. Thank you, sweetie, for tuning in. I love you, and everybody that's on there, man. Y'all been hot today, and we're gonna try to continue. So go ahead, Mark.
I've got one for you. So I thought I'd put that up there because you said that this is somebody that definitely
Oh,
inspires you and all along those lines. So I did get that and definitely wanted to get to
you
that as
snuck
well.
that in on me, bro. You snuck that in on me. I tell you about this, right?
Yes.
Because when we went from New York and bought a house in Virginia. And we were there for a minute. That's when I was married, obviously. And of course, you know, I was bringing my daughters to the concert. Of course I was, because my girls, Kaya and Maya, I love you to death. Kaya, congratulations. I know you're doing well up in Appalachian State. She's a freshman, so kudos to her. Maya, I know you're doing well. You're in a private high school here in Durham, and you're a freshman, so I know y'all are knocking it out of the park. But remember, your daddy's funky, y'all's going to be funky. So we go, right? And I couldn't get the carriage back to where they were. But Mike Hampton, Mike Hampton, Funkadelic, Mike Hampton, and Billy Bates Nelson, Funkadelic, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's like they were nice enough to come to the back fence and take this picture with me. And I treasure this picture for a lot of reasons. I'm wearing George Clinton, his shirt that he gave me, Atomic Door, because I used to take stuff out of George's closet. He used to give it to me because we wore the same shoe size, 10 and a half. So thank you, George. That shirt right there, Atomic Door, that was George Clinton's shirt, his red shirt. That's why I wore his stuff, because the funk oozed into me. And then my daughter, Kayla, Maya, I think, was 4. And I think Maya was 2 and Kayla was 6. Right? Yeah. And I'll never, and I treasure this picture. I have it hanging on my wall. And I just want people to remember I've been doing this shit for a long time. So, the funk gods that I hung out with that taught me, Mike Hampton, I love you, Billy Bates Nelson. I talked to these people extensively about the funk and how to do it. So, Mark, thank you for this, because you definitely caught me off guard, but I appreciate it. I really do, because, people don't really know our personal lives. They just know what they see. They don't really know, So thank you for sharing it, man. That's pretty cool,
And moms are important, and definitely moms are very important and are a vital part of our lives and everything. And so I'm going to actually let you see somebody that is very dear to me as well, and all in that space. It is a more recent picture, but it was from the event that she recently did about 2 years ago, and all in that space.
Let me see. Let me check it out.
Definitely, if you look there, and I will slide it down, that middle person there is none other than my mom, and she was at a event. Dr. Valeria Lynch Lee.
Slide it down a little bit more so we can see the top of her head just a little bit.
Yes, I'll definitely do that.
Right there.
Yeah. In the middle.
Kudos. Now, what was this?
This was at a event that they did that was about our culture and everything. It was actually the North Carolina Black Summit that was held 2 years ago, and she was one of the speakers that part of the Trailblazer Awards that they gave. And as you can see, they were focusing on the fight facing the future. So she is definitely about, even in her retirement, still staying involved and still staying involved both in my life, but also on the local, national, and even to some degree international, but I would definitely say local and national level of different things that are going on even in her retirement years.
Shout out to your mom, man. Look at that. And I know she was one of the first, Black radio station, owners. And I know your lineage, man. Shout out to your family. So you come from good stock, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're the person that you are, man. You're a good dude, man. Shout out, man, Mrs. Lee.
I appreciate you, and you are a great individual. Like I said, I've heard you talk about your mom and some of your other folks, so I definitely think that you are an amazing person as well. So I definitely
appreciate you.
Share how much I appreciate the great work that you do here on this show and just in the community in general. So I definitely know that those that were at the show yesterday got a definite treat, and now we got to get some more engagement so that more people can hear this amazing music that you are putting out that isn't just about the entertainment of the funk, because the entertainment of the funk is very important, but it is also about the message of the funk, because definitely you are oftentimes doing songs like and I love that little dance routine that you came up with, Funk Cannot Fight, and all in that space. So I love that, and all in that space. And even when you talk about United We Stand and that message of being united is a very powerful message. So I want folks to not just dance their feet off, because I definitely noted that music will have them dancing, but listen to the lyrics that Zach is writing, because he is writing some very powerful tunes.
That means a lot, because that's you know, I really want to. I'm inspired by so many great artists that put those messages out, and I am obligated as a funk artist, not just because it's funk, but as an artist, to put messages out that are positive and inspirational. I mean, I don't knock what other people do. That's their thing. I'm happy for them too. But I'm just me personally, Nappy Head. I have to have fun with the music, of course. But then I also have to make sure I'm giving them something to eat. I'm feeding them. So when they leave my shows, their soul has been fed. Their spirit is satisfied. They're happy. They go home smiling. They go home and make love to their significant others. They go out for drinks and they laugh and say, man, we just had a lifetime experience, a once in a lifetime, because all my shows are different. They're organic. You never know what you're going to get. And kudos to the band, my band, you know, Martel McLeod, you know, Mangus DC, you know, Ralph DeJour. Kudos to Jick Winslow. Kudos to Brendan from the Hornication Horns, who sat in with us last night. You know, the girls up front, Penda Jones and Helena Redmond and Tony Cam and Jackie Cam were there. And kudos to everybody in the Nappy Funk Army 2.0 that takes the time to do what we do, because we're preserving funk. It's a dying art form. And we have to make sure that we keep this funk alive. When we say it, man, and Bootsy says it from his heart and soul, it's like, yo, we have to keep this stuff alive. Very few people are doing it. So the support that we need the support from the community, because jazz, you know, they kind of rebooted that. There was a time when it was dying, you know. Of course, you know, rock will always be, because it's such a big, loud thing, you know, but funk, man, you know, it needs help. You know, we got to push it. We got to like lift it up. It's right there at the door and ready to just say, listen, I'm leaving. They're ready to put it into the museum. And I can't have that till the jam is done. I have to, until the jam is done. United we stand, divided we fall. I have to keep doing it till I drop. So yeah, remember, funk, not fight. Put the guns down. Unite. You know, that's it. I haven't shown that to Patty and Bootsy yet, but I'm gonna send them a video clip of it and say, hey, this is what we came up with. So that's cool.
I loved it. I think it was a great thing that you came up with, and all in that space of the band came up with. But one thing I was going to say is one of the things that I was enjoying in that moment with you at the Pinhook, the particular venue that you were at, was the fact that I did see some folks that were in that I would put it in that Gen Z or some of that younger set that were still getting their dance groove on. There was a young lady, relatively slender, that was definitely dancing all over the place. And I would say that she was probably in her 20s or 30s. And there were a couple of other ones that were there that were definitely resonating with the music. So if folks are thinking that funk is a dead art form, I would argue that they needed to be there, and they need to be in other rooms where the music is being played, because it definitely is still connecting to the youth voice. And
Amen. And you're absolutely right, because it does resonate with the youth, because most of my audience was young. So remember that. Don't think of funk as like something that's from the 70s or 80s. Just come and support the acts that do it, and then you'll get fed. I promise you. You won't go home unhappy. There's never been a funk show that I went to, no matter who was playing, that I was disappointed in, you know. So we get ready to get out of here, man. You guys have been great. Thank you for staying active on the chat line. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV. Amazing. Happy Mother's Day to all of you, man. All you moms out there, man. You know, we can't do this shit without you.
Hey, I know we're going to get out of here. Just real quick, I was going to say, there's some mothers leaving right now, because one of the things we had the dance group meeting here, but we also have quarter circles here at Hey Ty. So I know quite a few of those ladies are mothers, in addition to being quilters. So they are making fine quilts, and they do those regular shows. So I'm actually getting ready to give some Mother Day shout out to them as they are leaving the building.
Cool. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Let's roll out and make this happen. Let's join together and I feel alright. One love.
We're taking it back to the original One Love, Bob Marley. Happy Mother's Day!
There is one question I really like to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has earned all mankind to save the soul? One love, one heart, let's join together and I feel alright. One love, one heart, let's join together and I feel alright. Let's go and I will feel alright. Let's go together to my place moving back.
One love, y'all. I love y'all out there, man.
One love, let's join together and I feel alright.
One. Power of the word.
Let's join together and I feel alright.
Y'all have a great weekend, man. Enjoy life. On this plane, in this energy field, this is the only one we got. So let's enjoy this shit, all right? Make somebody happy today. Make somebody smile today. Help a young person today. Tell them thank you. And hug your mom. Call your mom. Text your mom. Funk from the front seat. I'll see y'all next week. With our special guest next week will be none other than the Funk Hall of Fame creator, producer, Mr. David Webb is joining us next Saturday. Funk from the front seat, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Funk Hall of Fame Chronicles up in Dayton, Ohio. David Webb will be with us. Funk Hall of Fame Chronicles. I love y'all. Let's go home.